so I am trying to go through the production manager current jobs, um, ultimately to teach what the essential responsibility is of the production manager. And ultimately, it relates very much to um, the spreadsheet. The spreadsheet is basically your piece of paper. It's a smart piece of paper. Okay. So in the office is listed. Um, there you go. And then I'm on a video. Okay. So go play. Okay. So the way that the first thing that is you're ultimately responsible for is tasks. Okay, so that's in ServiceMate. Okay, you should daily be looking through your tasks and daily getting about 95% of your tasks done. Okay, the moment you get a task, you need to get notes in it, and not the moment, but when you look at the task, you need to get notes in about what you're doing about it. And if you can't do it right then and there's a production issue, what you are going to be doing almost always is adding it to this production manager current jobs. So if you're tasked on, let's say this job, Sylvia Allen, and you're told, hey, there's a leak, or let's do another one that's marked completed. Okay. Hey, on Al Bolander or Steven Stout, there's a leak. You would go in here and you would start this out as new issue. You delete these two items, and now what this new issue does is this make sure that you create a plan on that leak by the end of the next business day. And by making a plan on that, once you make the plan, now you're going to go ahead and now you're going to write in what it is, and you're going to say when we're going back out to it and who's the super that's responsible for it. Okay. I'm going to undo all of that. Okay, since that was all fake. Okay. Okay, going back to this, so 95% of tasks. So I sort of went over that. You'll learn a lot more about ServiceMate, but all the details of the job, the entire diary is in ServiceMate. Okay. Next up is properly managing all of these jobs. So we have these filters here. Okay, 1 through 9. 1 is essentially a reset. Okay. But what you need to have a full understanding of, and you should be going through these filters probably 2 or 3 times a day. And if you aren't doing it at least once a day, you will not be successful and issues will continue to pile up. So we have Command Option Shift, how all these all start, and then I just did 2. So I'm starting with this one right there, number 2. And this shows that yesterday we had 2 jobs out that haven't been, at least the date moved forward. So you need a report on this job, 23098D, and this job, 26428. That report is coming from Mike. That report is coming from Jacob. Once you get that report, you're either going to be marking this job as completed by putting today's date in and getting rid of that. Okay. Or you're going to be moving it forward to what we're doing on the next. Maybe they didn't get to the QC, so you're saying, okay, well, on 9/12, we'll be doing the QC. I'm going to make sure I'm following up with Mike on that. Okay. If you were to mark it completed, so we say, hey, it was done yesterday. Very important, whenever something is marked complete, okay, you need to make sure that the office is aware that it is completed. This is typically the simplest way to do this is you simply task them. You say, issue resolved, job complete, customer is happy. The other thing that you were responsible for whenever you mark something complete is make sure that any necessary back charges have been made. Okay. So that's the first filter. Okay. Command Option Shift 2. Okay. Command Option Shift 1 resets all of these filters. Okay. So these are the main filters that you'll use. They're reset right there. Okay. So now Command Option Shift 3. Let's see all of the jobs that are to run today. So this means these are the jobs that you're going to be asking Diego, Mike, Jacob about today. Hey, what is the status of this? What's happening? What's happening? What's happening? Okay. By the end of the day, assuming these jobs are done, okay, the likely thing that this will move to is 9/11, or I guess it's a weekend, so 9/14, you would be going to QC, okay, because that's the next thing that has to happen on that job. But essentially, whatever is happening next, we need it logged here, so you can always see what is happening next, okay. Command Option Shift 1 to reset it. And now tomorrow, Command Option Shift 4. Okay, so this is saying that tomorrow there is one job going. So looking forward, you always need to make sure you're looking forward into the jobs that will be running. Okay, now the thing that is not good about this is it doesn't account for weekends. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to, so I'm resetting it. So this does do Saturday right there. But essentially the way that you account for weekends, you can't do tomorrow because we need to look at Monday. You come in here, next production date, you click clear. And now you choose whatever date that is. Okay, so I believe that is going to be the 13th. You select it. And now that is for the sake of roofing, for the sake of business, this is tomorrow. Okay. Command Option Shift 1, again, that will reset all of these blue filters every time. Okay. The next thing that you need to be responsible for is new issues. We already talked about that. Command Option Shift 5. Anything that has new issue written in here, you need to be reaching out to the customer and making a plan. So all of these look like they're pretty old. Okay. These should not have a new issue written in. By the end of the next business day, we need to have the customer contacted. Okay, so once you were to contact this customer here, Office should be deleting these two items. Okay, but once you see this new issue, you're gonna, through your super, Jacob, and you can always reassign this. This is something that we need to do better with. If someone is overburdened, you need to give it to someone else or yourself, or however you can just spread it out. Okay, and you would say, okay, Jacob, I need you to come back with a plan for this new issue. By the end of the day, he's gonna come back and he's gonna say, "Hey, I spoke with the homeowner. I told him that we're gonna go back out on the 14th, and we're going to be fixing the leak because I have the pictures to make sure that it's fixed." Now, on the 14th is gonna pop up as part of this right here. Okay. I need to undo that since again that's all fake what I just did. Okay. The next one that you're responsible for, I'm resetting Command Option Shift 1. Is upcoming jobs, Command Option Shift 6. So you are responsible to look at all jobs that are upcoming, all of the jobs that are coming up that are going to be a start, show up on the schedule. Okay. So as of Wednesday, you should be getting all of the paperwork in. So starting on Wednesday, you should be marking all jobs that are happening the next week as one of these two things: start, or if you don't actually have the paperwork, mark it as missing paperwork. If you mark it as missing paperwork, this means that you do not have the necessary paperwork to run the job and actually puts a really annoying alert in the Office's sheet. Okay. When you mark it start, this means that you have reviewed the job, you've reviewed all the paperwork, and you're comfortable with it. This isn't necessarily you, right? This could be the super that's looked at it. But as far as the Command Option Shift 6, what's coming up, you need to be reviewing it, assigning a super, and then marking it as start or that you're missing paperwork, you still need stuff. Okay. Now, currently, they've done supers based on the crew. From a logistical standpoint, it's going to make a lot more sense if you can make the transition that the supers don't necessarily have to deal with specific crews. Okay, but we can see that this upcoming week we still have a lot more that have marked start, that need to be marked start. The assumption is that a lot of these we haven't even reviewed the paperwork for next week. So now if something is missing, we're going to be behind the 8 ball, and now we're going to spend 2, 3, 4 times as much time to try to fix a mistake. If we had looked at it before, we would have caught it. So Command Option Shift 1 to reset it. The next one, Command Option Shift 7, is going to show everything that's marked as a QC. So these ones are marked as a QC, right? These two are from 2 days ago. We should know by now what happened on that QC. So you go to Diego, what has happened? Oh, you did it? It's completed? Excellent. 9/8, job is complete. You notify the office it's done. You verify that the crew pay is in, all of that. Okay. Command Option Shift 1 to reset it. This right here, Command Option Shift 8, shows every single issue. Okay. So an issue, understand this definition of an issue. An issue is anything that production has to do. Okay, pretty simply. Okay. And now I'm going to do Command Option Shift 1 to reset it. You can see some of these issues are very old. And the last one is issues with no plan. So Command Option Shift 9. And what this is doing is this is finding everything that has an issue with a prior date. So if something doesn't have a plan, right? So like this one, it's truly, this date's been moving forward a lot. This has been moving forward for about 3 months. Okay. We need a plan on these different things. Anything that has an issue that doesn't have a date in the future is an issue without a plan. So your big thing as a production manager is to make sure that you can come up with a plan to get the right people in the right places to resolve these things promptly so that the customers will pay. Okay. Next, we also have the old jobs tab. We should probably change this to warranty jobs. That would probably be a better name for it. But you have the similar thing. The downside, you don't have these filters here. Okay. Maybe I'll go ahead and build some in. But essentially, I'm just going to go ahead. I'm going to build these filters in today. There won't be smart things like we have right here with these numbers. The way you'll do it is you'll have to come up here. You click Tools, Macros, and then you'll see what it's titled right here. Okay. But essentially, it's very similar. But you're basically going to find this filter has been removed. So I'm adding this filter back in. Realistically, we don't need 90. There we go. So the big things here is date called in. So you can get rid of blanks. Okay. And as you see these date called in, anything that has been called in, but we don't have a next production date, that's basically an issue without a plan. Okay. Once these jobs are completed, you can literally come in and what you do is you highlight it, right click, and delete row. Okay. But similarly, just like the other tab, right, you come up with a plan, and right here it says leak done, something to sub. We were supposed to go out there today, so hopefully we're gonna go out there today to do this. Again, whenever this is marked completed, make sure that the necessary crew gets a back charge. Okay, that's a key. Whenever there is something you mark complete, make sure that we are back charging a crew if they're responsible for it. So overall, that's production.